For any Patriots fan right now, the biggest things on your mind is free agency and the NFL draft in April. The reason being, can the Patriots find talent in the league right now and bring them to New England to help this rebuild? As well, can the Patriots and this organization under new leadership and Mike Vrabel go into the draft young talent who can help immediately? Those are the biggest questions at this very moment. But one thing we are not talking about that is under the rug is a big trade that could happen on the West Coast. But how could that affect the New England Patriots? Let's talk about it. You guys know my name's Aaron, on the daily, pushing out Patriots content to people just like you. So do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button, like button, and comment below. So today, as I said, we're going to be talking about big trade potentially from the LA Rams as well. Later on in the episode, a former Patriots coach, there we go, heading to LA. We'll jump into it. So first and foremost, most of you know Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams are literally in a gridlock when it comes to his contract moving forward. This past year, the LA Rams and him came to a compromise, basically saying, listen, we'll borrow some money from next year and the year after that. It'll be $5 million. We'll give you that. And it was kind of an agreement, like a pay it forward type deal. But a lot of times what that is that's a Band-Aid on a bigger issue. The bigger issue being Matt Stafford wants to get paid more money. Now, he literally just turned the other day, February 7th, he turned 27 years old. Sorry, 27. Come on now. 37. There we go. That was better, Aaron. 37 years old. Now, a lot of people would say he's at the end of his career. Yes. If you've watched him play for the Rams, though, he can still sling the ball. He is still fun to watch, and I do think he has a little left in the tank. But the question is, do the LA Rams want to pay that kind of money, about 50, just under, and then if he finishes out his contract, it would be just over, about $53 million for the year, and that is a huge cap hit. So when it comes down to it, Sean McVay and the LA Rams have a debacle. Now, you're probably saying, Aaron, we don't need the full details. Bear with me. Just bear with me. Sean McVay, who does he want? He probably still wants Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford can still play. But, and think about it. When they were playing against the Eagles, it wasn't like they were in that game for most of the game. Last year when they played the Lions in the first round, in the wild card round, they were in that game for most of the game, almost the whole game, literally the whole game up until the end. So they still have potential. Now Cooper Kupp's gone. They need another wide receiver. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But the big question is, do they want to be willing do they want to pay Matt Stafford when they have this young core for the LA Rams? Do they want to keep him on and pay him this money when they literally could take a massive, massive amount of money and use that for other things if they were able to trade him? Now, you're probably wondering, Aaron, why does this have to do with the New England Patriots? Well, let me throw this at you. The fact is, there are a lot of teams right now that need a quarterback. Two being the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. The reason I throw those teams out there is because they are drafting the Browns number 2 overall, the New York Giants 3rd overall. Those are two teams that at the moment, apparently, allegedly, are interested in Matt Stafford and his quarterback skills. And so when it comes down to it, Matt Stafford, man, wants to get paid. Already won a Super Bowl, will probably be a Hall of Famer. So he wants to finish out his career getting paid the big bucks. Sure, I understand. Who cares? And Lord knows his wife is probably spending a lot of that money. But don't we all have that issue? Anyways, Matt Stafford is open to talk to trade, and there's probably suitors out there that would be willing to pay that kind of money. Now, the question becomes this, and this is where it affects the New England Patriots. Would the LA Rams want a first overall pick? And so the question would be, for the Giants or the Browns, if they are really in a hunt for a quarterback, especially a quarterback with experience that could come in and change some things right away. And think about it. For the Browns, that team is granted, if they could keep Myles Garrett, who knows what will happen there, but they have some young talent offensively. I think you've looked at that team, especially when they got Deshaun Watson, regardless of what you think about him. You were like, man, they got they got Nick Chubb there. Jerry Jeudy had a better this year. And they have pieces there that aren't bad, that are not bad. And I think they had an incredibly underwhelming year this year. We could all agree with that. But the year before that, heck, they made the playoffs with Joe Flacco. And so when we look at the Browns, that's a team that could for sure turn around. So it's one of those things. Do the Browns want to take a chance on Matt Stafford and pay him a boatload? Now, they would have to do a lot of things to figure some stuff out with Deshaun Watson still there and all this other stuff. But would they want to do that? Would the Giants want to take a leap at that? You have someone like a young talent like Malik Neighbors, but granted, I think the Giants have a lot to fix. I don't think they're a snap of the finger. They could really turn things around that quick. I'm not necessarily saying the Browns could either, but again, the Browns were literally just in the playoffs. And so that being said, when you look at that, if the Rams were to acquire the second or third pick, the question would become, hey, now they need a quarterback. They're going to take a chance on Shedeur Sanders. They're going to take a chance on Cam Ward. What are they going to do? Are they going to try to go after Travis Hunter? And the reason I say this is because, and let me throw this out there. Don't forget, here's the draft order. New England, if they would have lost that last game, this kills me right here looking at one win streak, one win. But they should have lost to the Bills. Anyways, New England Patriots would have first overall pick, and if that were the case, I think Abdul Carter hands down would be the first overall pick. Now, that's still a possibility. I'm not saying it isn't, but let's put in there the Rams. Now, everyone's saying the number one wide receiver in this draft is Travis Hunter. I think that's up for debate personally. McMillan, I think, is the number one wide receiver. Not saying that Travis Hunter isn't a good wide receiver. I think he's great. Obviously, he won the Heisman, but I think he's more of a versatile pick than a tried and true wide receiver like McMillan. But that's beside the point. If they were to take the second or third pick, they would most likely get one of those quarterbacks. I would be surprised if they didn't. Now, this is all speculation. It is also possible, too. The Raiders, they need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. The Saints, you could say, hey, they need a quarterback. So there's other teams out there. So if that's a possibility, they let's say they trade with the Jets. They get the 7th overall pick. They very well could get McMillan from Arizona. And they need a wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, they're trading. He's going to be gone when the season gets started in March. It's probably going to be quick. But when we break it down, if it is the Browns or the Giants and they're in that position, I would be surprised if they didn't go for a Hunter, a Cam Ward, a Shedeur Sanders. And the reason that would be good for the Patriots, again, I think at this moment right now, it's the best case scenario is somehow, some way Abdul Carter falls into the Patriots' lap. I think that's it. And if that doesn't happen, again, I'm back and forth on Travis Hunter. I don't know if he's someone you add to the team and he adds value immediately. I think McMillan would add more value than him immediately. And so if it's not Abdul Carter, and more I'm thinking about this, is trade down, and try to get something else. But it's also possible maybe they trade with the Jets, they get the 7th, and they're like, man, we really want to get up there and try to get a quarterback. And let's say it's a situation where there's a quarterback available at that time and Abdul Carter's already gone. Boom. Hey, we'll trade up with you. We want the 4th overall pick so we can go after Shedeur or Cam Ward or whoever it might be. Who knows? It is also totally possible that Sean McVay and the Rams, if they trade Matt Stafford, say, let's bring in Kirk Cousins on a veteran minimum, because he's still going to be, it's going to be a Russell Wilson situation. He's still going to be getting paid a boatload by the Falcons. And so we'll sign you at this. Or shoot, he could bring in Russell Wilson. I highly doubt that. He could bring in Aaron Rodgers. Now that one's an interesting one. I think Aaron Rodgers would, in that environment, though I do not like Aaron Rodgers, I think he could go into that environment and thrive a lot more than he did in New York. I think New York, we all know, watching them was just dysfunctional, and it was painful. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but it was painful to watch at times because you're just like, gosh, this team should be a lot better than it is. And I think a lot of people expect him to be better. But the holistic view of this, is, hey, if Matt Stafford gets traded in a team like the Browns or the Giants, or again, even the Raiders or the Jets or the Saints, it could present a good opportunity for the Patriots to, one, potentially land Abdul Carter if it's the Browns or the Giants, and the Rams end up getting one of those picks and picking a quarterback, and then Abdul Carter comes to them, falls in their lap at number 4. Or if it's someone else and they say, oh, hey, we want to trade up to get someone. So I think either or, if Matt Stafford gets traded, I would assume it is one of these teams that I've mentioned. And if that is the case, I truly think it would help the New England Patriots. You might be looking at me and say, Aaron, this is the craziest rabbit hole I've ever heard. This is stupid. What's going on? Listen, that's what ADHD does to you. You go down a rabbit hole and you chase it until there's no more. And then you jump onto something else. But that is what it is. But anyways, comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think that's far-fetched? Conspiracy theory? I don't know what the heck you want to call it. But again, I think that is possible. And we look right here too. Again, if they get rid of Matt Stafford, they need some offensive tackles. You have a couple big names heading to, at least one big one in Jackson, heading to free agency. And a lot of people think that he will easily get signed back to the Rams. But again, they need to free up more cap space, and dropping Matt Stafford would be huge, because they do not want to pay him that. And so if they could sign those guys, the wide receiver, I mean, if they get rid of Stafford, they're for sure going to want a quarterback in some capacity. But we'll see. We will see what happens. It'll be very interesting. And it's also possible too. Listen, cornerback, wide receiver. Hey, shoot, we're going to bring in Travis Hunter. That's fine. Hey, listen, as long as Abdul Carter could drop down to us, I think more and more that's what this team needs, is a guy like that or to trade out. Guy like that or trade out. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Last but not least, we'll jump into Mr. AVP is heading to LA. He is going to be an offensive assistant, senior offensive assistant. Big deal. So good for him. I think people had kind of mixed emotions with AVP. It seemed like a lot of the players actually liked him. And it's tough when you're put in a situation where it's like, all right, you got 1 year, you're going to start with a backup quarterback and your offensive line sucks and your wide receivers not ideal. So, good for him. I hope the best for him. But anyways, comment below. Tell me what you think about this whole Matt Stafford thing, and we will talk later. Hit that subscribe button on your way out. Peace.